morning. My name is Kelly Gamble, and I'm president of People Looking After Neighborhoods. Our organization supports the 125 signatures collected on the petition, which was delivered last month to the Planning Commission, and the 88 signatures collected recently on a petition to support 72 homes on this parcel. At the March 7th hearing, I presented, go ahead, he's got it, that showed using the applicant's requested variances to code requirements, they were able to build 28 more homes than what would be allowed if built to code. If code was upheld, the applicant would need to remove 7 acres from their green space allocation, changing their actual green space from 41.8% to 31.5%, which would no longer qualify this as an OSC. In Mr. Sam's stipulation letter, item number 6, he is requesting variances for 108 lots, which is the entire proposed development. 63 exterior lots request variances from the R30 code, and 45 interior lots request variances from the R20 code. Section 134-198.1F1 discusses minimum setback requirements. The minimum rear setback requirement for exterior lots must be equal to or greater than the rear setbacks of adjacent existing lots. This parcel is adjacent to R30 developed land, therefore, per code, the rear setback should be 40 feet. Per Cobb County Code Section 11052 variances, paraphrased, where the subdivider can show that a provision of this article would cause unnecessary hardship if strictly adhered to, and or where a departure may be made without otherwise nullifying the standard design specification of the director and the intent of this article or the county zoning regulations. Section 11053, conformance with zoning and other regulations, the last sentence reads, whenever there is a discrepancy between minimum standards of dimensions noted in this chapter and those contained in the zoning regulations, building code, or any other official regulation of the county, the highest standard shall apply. The applicant has failed to claim a hardship in their application for rezoning. Cobb County Code clearly states that the highest standard shall apply in regards to conformance with zoning and other regulations. Arbitrarily allowing the applicant to request variances from code in order to achieve a higher density should be discouraged by the board. Section 134-198-1F7, the overall residential development shall be compatible with neighboring residential uses. In areas where adjoining neighborhood lots are larger than those proposed, the plan should incorporate larger lots adjacent to existing neighborhoods with smaller lots on the interior. Rear building setbacks for these exterior lots must be equal to or greater than rear setbacks of adjacent existing lots. Then, in addition, undisturbed perimeter buffer or other suitable form of privacy barrier may be required at the rear or exterior buildings. Buffers along rear or exterior building lots shall be commonly owned, will not be part of the lots, and may be considered part of the minimum required open space. Therefore, we request that CAPKey be required to have 40-foot rear setbacks in addition to the 20-foot open space buffer for a total of 60 feet around the subject property perimeter. Section 134-198-1F4, minimum of 15 feet shall be provided between buildings. R30 code requires 24 feet total and should be upheld for this application on lots adjacent to the existing R30 development, which are the perimeter lots. Mr. Gunther called Mr. Westbrook up and asked him what the intent of the OSC code was, and he proceeded to read verbatim from the code. We are not opposing that open space design is intended to result in a more efficient use of the land. However, the purpose and intent also clearly states that it is not the intent of this overlay district to significantly increase overall development densities, but to allow for stipulated densities, which staff has stated as 72 homes, and a potential minor bonus. While each application is independent of the other, Mr. Westbrook and Mr. Gunther stated that this was your typical OSC application, and all applications are based on the same criteria. Interestingly enough, if you read and compare staff comments for Z9, it takes into account the surrounding area developments, but Z114 does not. In Z114, no mention was made that this site was adjacent to an equestrian estate of 8.1 acres, Sweet Pine Creek that is zoned 0.488 units per acre, or adjacent to homes on 1 to 1+ acre lots. If zoning is not arbitrary and capricious, why does it appear different standards and objectives were used? Plan has followed the following concerns regarding the letter of stipulations submitted by Mr. Sams. It has been the understanding of the community that stipulations are additional guidelines that the developer is to adhere to if the application is approved. Stipulation number 5, the second sentence should be removed as any changes to the architectural style and composition changes the intent of the rezoning application as it is currently being submitted to the board for approval and lacks transparency. Stipulation number 14 does not specify when notice is to be given regarding the changes. Furthermore, it potentially circumvents Cobb County Code and procedure as to issues that would need to come back to the full board for hearing. It also removes adjacent homeowners' potential to appeal the change depending on timing, lacks transparency, and potentially gives full power of the board to an individual commissioner. Stipulation 15D6 states that an above-ground 10-foot fence is to be used. Per Code Section 134-267B, height of fences and walls in the residential districts, fences shall not exceed 6 feet in height. Mr. Sand sent an update to this portion of the stip letter on March 15th. However, he failed to change the fence height to 6 feet as had been directed by the Cobb County attorney. This is a complete and utter disregard to the code as he had been counseled. Stipulation number 22 should be reduced to 12 months or 18 months maximum. We request that you deny this application as this proposal mocks the relevance of the Cobb County Code and ordinances. There has been no proof by the applicant that this property is not developable as zoned. If you are unwilling to deny this application, we request you direct the applicant to present a revised site plan reflecting 72 homes on lots that meet the OSC requirements and a stipulation letter that is not subject to minor modifications or administrative decisions. Thank you.